Sorry about that delay, guys. But the pastor is here. What's up? What's up? Good morning. Good morning. I'm pretty sure you guys are familiar with the watch lists. We do have BDSX, cheaper stock, ASST, EDBL recently here did take a nosedive. So that one kind of down a bit, but I think it'll be between BDSX and then ASST. Being that the penny stocks have been hot in the first like 10 minutes, I think I'll watch this one into the open and then we'll see how ASST does and I'll go from there. As usual, I'll have small size early. I do want to take it slow. I've been thinking about just taking a couple of $100 and walking away early, right? It's something that I've been thinking more and more about these last couple days. And I think today could be a good day to, despite wanting to trade longer, at least the full first hour or two, to perhaps take the couple $100 and then size down. As in like size down for real, for good. Like for the rest of the day if I'm gonna be here. If not, heading straight out. So but I do want to start small and then increase size if we're to see the strength. But BDSX, we'll have to see, right? It doesn't guarantee we'll see a strong move right away, but it's kind of what we've been seeing from this price range. ASST does look good. It's only up 30%, but continuation move more so. EDBL was great, but sold off the last 5 to 8 minutes. So a little tough on that one. Doesn't seem like pre-market was as hot as usual, but it was still pretty hot. Again, ASST I think was the bigger stock here from 8 to 10, 8 to 11 really for that one earlier around 8 a.m. There's 2 minutes and 20 seconds to the opening bell. BDSX, for me, I'd love to see the retest of 50. We've been pretty explosive again in this range, so if it is good, that's the expectation. But we'll still want to see it prove itself at least the first couple of minutes. EDBL, probably not going to touch it. Sold off too much. ASST, we'll see how that one does. There's a 2-minute warning. GCL, how's this one? GCL, it's kind of down there too. Could be interesting, but it's really down. All right. We got a minute 30 seconds to the opening bell. It's another beautiful day. As you guys know, no matter how good the weather is outside, as summertime is approaching here in the States, it's always a good time to be inside and inside trading. We got our beautiful setups and sanctuaries here for a reason. So BDSX into the open. Let's see how this one does. We're currently at 39 cents. We got 60 seconds. Where's my blue light glasses? There it is. Keep this hat in proximity. When you're trading, you got to be careful. You don't want to damage your eyes here with the screens. Last night I realized I have a surge protector, battery protector, like in case the power goes out. I came back from the gym, this thing is like shot, so I had to order a new one. So my wiring is like all sorts of crazy today. I'll talk a little bit more about that as we go through later into the open when we're wrapping it up later. But yeah, BDSX, keeping an eye here. What will it be? Volume a little low to start. Or two. We got 43 for the high. 43.5. There's 43.8. Or 2.5. A little bit of chop. You gotta watch out for the big pullback. EDBL actually is curling up a little bit. So we pulled back to 16 to 39.16, 39.40, somewhere there. It did hold the pullback. Didn't flush all the way below low of day, but still a pretty big pullback nevertheless. I think I'm gonna keep an eye on EDBL as well here. I'd say it's a bit of a slow start so far. We got BDSX, not too much there. EDBL, small push, pulling back right now. We'll see if it's able to hold up the pullback. Highs are at 532. There was a seller there. Okay. The 1 minute candle to make the new high, not quite. We broke over that seller, or the seller might have been canceled, but it's back down. I wonder if they marketed out because we dropped 20 cents instantaneously after breaking that 09 level, which is interesting. Can we hold the high and continue? There's 36. Tight stops for me, tight stops. I'll pull up the 1 minute, no, 10-second chart here. Sometimes I forget. There we go. So watching with the small size here, we got lows around 15. We are below VWAP, which is interesting. After stock gave the big flush out pre-market. Watching for the break of 50. 47. Will we see the break of 50? It's definitely trying. Tight stops still. Tight stops. Can we hold 50? It did. It held again right there. That's a good sign. We had 64 for highs. We're at the VWAP here, so hopefully we're not going to see resistance. Okay, good. It's a good breakthrough VWAP. And we're halting up 78. And it's locked in. See, so, you know, again, here's where I have an interesting question for myself, right? I came in with my small size. I made a couple $100. Right here, I could leave right here, right now, and it's a great day. And it's a fantastic day to walk away. Hey, you came in, you stuck to your small size, you made a couple $100. And you know, the tough part is, which is what I mentioned a couple days ago, is that sometimes, you know, this stock look, it seems right now, at least it seems that we can continue to slowly stair step to the pre-market highs. So is this the dilemma of, you know, you could potentially make more, but then you could also give back profits. So this is where I'm going to size down. ASST is pushing up a little bit. I'm going to size down some more to ensure that I protect all the gains. ASST, by the way, is pushed up some more to 1030 here off the lows. There are sellers at 40 ASST. You know, another thing is after more reviews is that the longer holds, bro, they have so much potential, but we're getting cooked. We're getting cooked too many times on trying to catch the pullback to the highs. Even sometimes not taking the unrealized gain of like 5-10 cents and then stocks just going to the depths. I think it'll be good to do it, but maybe later, right? As in like a few weeks, few months when things are just much more aggressive off the lows, quicker reactions. Quicker reactions. Yeah, Big Steve, I'm sizing down, bro. Sizing down to just a couple hundred shares. I'm gonna grind it out on small size. ASST still fighting, still grinding up. We got a minute 40 to the resumption. Minute 20 to the resumption. Resumption price showing sideways at 78. I did like that we didn't see too much resistance at the VWAP. We got through 64 pretty easily, 62. Our last pullback was at 40. We're now 40 cents on top of that. So, you know, I'd expect a dip and rip and then perhaps to be careful here. As we could see a bigger dip. I got 300 shares, max size 500 shares. Again, grinding it out on the small size here in a slightly higher risk area. The resumptions have been a little tricky for me the last few weeks as well. So 15 seconds. Can we see the continued move, the dip and the rip, the retest of the highs? It's showing 558 now, so it's going to resume lower here. Alt 70. Okay, 38 lows. I think over 60 could be interesting. Tight stops. Not quite. We got 68 out of that. Didn't quite go for the breakout there. 78 the high of the last candlestick. $35. It's fighting, it's fighting. Okay, it's fighting down there. I'm gonna give it time though. Not gonna be super aggressive for the dip, just gonna wait. It's holding up though so far. So far, so good. Nothing dramatic, kind of just a churn here. Over 50, over 60, over 60, still some trouble. There we go. Okay. Looks like we got through, but no eruption. So a bit of a chop there. There, so it's a little late, but okay. You gotta be careful with the fills. It is pretty volatile. $6.20 for the new highs. Bit of a double bottom there. Not bad. Right now I'm watching high or low, high or low. Five-minute candle has a minute 30 seconds. Bid it's at 6, getting sold through. $15, will we see over 15? Not quite. We got high as a double top at 20 here. We could see new lows. Not quite the reclaim. Not quite the reclaim there. So we'll see if it's able to hold up the VWAP level. 5-minute candle is red as well. ADBL with the red to green. ASST is back down to the lows. ADBL, the 1 minute consolidation has broken. So we're kind of in like a 5 minute pullback territory. We got the VWAP below us. So far to bounce off the VWAP for a tight 5 minute pullback. So far, so good. Is this enough for high of day? We're seeing a big volume spike, slowing down a bit. We got a triple top in there now. So we have obvious resistance there. I don't think it's a bad thing per se if we can get over the level. But what it tells me is that we're seeing selling and or shorting at that high. And so short sellers are here. Short sellers are here. The VWAP dip is coming down pretty low. Tight stops. So no double bottom versus our previous low of the pullback, which was a tight 5 minute pullback 72. VWAP at 62, 68 area breaking down. So we're seeing a much bigger 5 minute pullback here. Short sellers are here. So it's going to be interesting. But the key would be for us to get a new high again. That way they can cover. But for now, they're getting a nice dip. Some people will probably be taking something off. Covering some bit of a position. You know what? My audio is turned off because of all the power issues I had. So I forgot I'm not going to be getting the chime for stocks moving up. So we'll have to see how the bear flag does here for EDBL. Selling pressure is fairly light. Tight stops. And we have a new low by a couple cents there. Just keeping it tight. There's some more selling there. Yeah, so this one looks like, and we're not really beginning consolidation here. So this one could be official backside here. I'm gonna look out for some other ones. GPUS moving up. So at 01, we'll see the resumption here. Adjusting to small size so that we don't get caught, but looking for the dip and rip. And it's given a nice push here so far. Pre-market highs, nice move. We pushed through. We had a quick pullback there, and then a continuation. Typically, out of the resumption, I really and truly want the stock to go up a little bit before the pullback. Ideally. But sometimes we'll open up sideways, sometimes we'll open up lower. But I like to see a push, a small push, then the pullback. I was on call yesterday, and I'm like, I'm telling two guys that, like, I've been a little too stubborn for a little too long here. And, sometimes you got to put the pride and the ego aside and do what's right and size down. We always have the option at every turn, at every twist, and on every day. We have the option. If we ever don't have an option, that's when we're in trouble. But we always will have the option. And there will be options. So 01, we got about 3 minutes for GPUS. Waiting patiently. We got a minute. EDBL is back up a little bit. High of the flag was around 67. 30 seconds to resumption. Ten seconds. So it's 676. Here we go. Will we see the pullback? Break of 7. I took the breakout. We didn't really see a dip, but not a full connection on that 20-cent pop. 45, the halt up. 45. 81, the halt up now. 81. The pullbacks have been the micros, the baby pullbacks. They've been a little tricky here. GPUS 790 for the 799, I think, for the next halt up here. If it gets up there. What was that? 63. Here's a new low. 54. Not the greatest fills. Not the greatest fills right there. Okay. The candle closed, which was good. Oh, come on. The halt up is at 827. Halt down is a ways away. See if we get another good pullback. I didn't quite trust that low, so I kind of waited for some, for a little bit of volume. And I got the ask. Time. Bounce is definitely not immediate. Small breakdown. Can we reclaim? No follow through. There's buying, but we're not moving up. Okay. Better. Something that I've noticed too over the years is that, or not years really, but the months, these last couple of months, some of these moves are not as decisive as they usually would be, especially in areas like that where we're seeing good buying and just nothing. So hidden sellers. Again, right there. And a similar level of buying then pushes us to 70. Now, the issue though with holding there towards the lows is that a lot of the times we'll come to the lows and you know we kind of just evaporate 30 cents. Right, so let's say I'm in at 55 and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna watch this thing towards 45, let's say. We're holding above 50 fairly well for the most part, and then a lot of times you kind of just 20 on the bids from like 50. So you gotta definitely be careful with dips and trying to hold. EDBL is still fighting. EDBL still fighting. In fact, it actually looks good. Oh, miraculous push there from GPUS all the way from the lows. I missed it. Not gonna chase. Highs were 34. There's a small spread here. I gave the bid a chance to catch up there. Probably selling the ass would have been better. It's a decent bounce off of 80. I'm checking out EDBL. It's back up. I mean, this thing is holding up these flushes. Not bad. 60 from 860 to 760 and held up. Stock has definitely beat my expectation here. Looks like it might get locked in. Bro, this stock is all over the place here. So EDBL, bit of a false breakout there. Not quite through 6. They're coming down fast too, from 99 to 80 in a second. GPUS halted up. What happened is that I switched over both times we had that big flush. I kind of missed the bounce. The red candle here at 05 and then this candle. The other one had a good setup going, so I looked over. I mean, both times it's like it instantly back up. Because it's so high up, when I come back to it, it's like chasing the highs is just not worth it. BDSX. I mean, like I saw this red candle here. The issue is that the moment I saw the lows at 65, in an instant we're at 80. And I made a decision that it's already too much off the lows for me to get in. But we did have a good push from 80 up to the whole dollar at 20 and then back down to 80, then back up to the whole dollar. So I looked over again and looked back, it's at 820, 830. I'm like, okay. Resumption will be at 17 and 44 seconds. EDBL had the ABCD and is now flagging sideways. So I figured we would have seen something already, but it's trying here again. We'll see if it goes. Tough entry there, man. Again, the volatility is pretty brutal. 98. Spreads are also pretty tricky. Not tricky, but a spread. A spread is a spread, right? That's what I meant to say. The volatility tough though, as in, you're trying to jump in, but the stock is moving so fast. There's a couple cents difference in between where you can be in versus where, you know, you hit the buy button. So insane volatility and also the spread. 1744, we got less than a minute. We're now a $9 stock. So 350 shares for me, max size here. 250 shares on the resumption. Come on. See, that was pretty good. I don't know. I think the resumptions, I mean, I saw one that was clean yesterday, I think, but we haven't really had a lot of cleaner ones. It's like we're getting 40 and then 10 on the bids. Like, like come on, man. Like, what is that? We can't be pushing 930, 940, and then 10 coming on the bids. We got 86 by 90. Saw the low of 62. It's 54 for the lows. And the baby pullbacks in there not super good for breakup 6 as we're coming back down to the lows. Oh, of course. I hesitated there. Low 90s for the break. It's going to go. We got 910 on the other side. There's a seller. And it's back to the lows again. Only a 10,000 share seller doing like a 10,000 share seller on the ass caused that drop. It's like 10,000 shares is not a lot of shares for that type of reaction there. Unless maybe it was 100,000 and I missed the extra zero. So it's going to be like a false breakout over 9 there. Bills are still pretty miserable. It seems like the type of stock that could drop $1 a share. Because it's like, why are we back down here again after that nice push? It's going to hold up again, though. At least for now. We're down 50% from the highest SF. Yeah, I mean, yeah, we were up 400. We're at 320. We gave back a couple bucks. We got extremely small size. Not looking to size up or anything. We got some topping wicks here on this one. Again, so, that resistance over 9 kind of coming in. It definitely has potential to rip, but we can see that big flush out too. I'm surprised we held up there again after that drop. It's an old-fashioned bar fight here. Short sellers not giving up easily. The short sellers are not throwing in the towel so easily here. We might go on the next candle. On the next 1 minute candle, will we erupt? Eruption, brother. Now short sellers are covering into the moon. We should see the halt up. Are we gonna see it? Are we gonna see it? Are we gonna see it? Chase that halt level down. There it is. $9.98, 10.02 to halt up. Short sellers are on the run. Damn these spreads. Anyhow, it's a good fill. Tights it up. We might need lower. Might need lower here. Oh, no, maybe we're not going to need lower. We're going to need 1 cent lower and then a 20-cent jump. Okay. Well, all right. No, oh wow, still not ready. More consolidation. More consolidation. ADBL going to the bottom of the 7 C's. These consolidations are like so lame these days, bro. Like, come on. It's like the most I don't know about you guys, but for me, I'm like it's just like the most lackluster consolidation. We've got to 73. Highs were 98. How does one get that entry? Like that what was that? Come on. I started a live stream late today because I was eating this sugary pastry, and now I'm feeling the backlash, the repercussions, the headache is coming in for my poor decision in eating that nonsense. And stock is coming down. So I think this is where I lock it in. Successful trader rehab day. Having to put the ego aside, man, the pride aside. I didn't want to size down to what was going on, but you gotta size down and do what's right, or suffer the consequences of big red, or suffer the consequences of big red. So enough was enough. We're gonna continue at small size until further notice. You see, the thing is with small size too is that even if you are still red, it's like you're losing nothing compared to if you're using your actual size and you're red, then you're like bleeding out. So day one of baby size. Shout out to Big Steve and some others. Big Steve, Big Steve and I, we did have a long talk yesterday about pride and what it means to really size down, right? This is why it's always good to have a good community. Shout out to the team. Shout out to the team. So it seems like this one is pulling back a little bigger, but of course doesn't mean that it's finished. We've seen these stocks like this plenty of times. They hold up and then curl up later in the day. So for people going all the way, they can definitely keep an eye on it. So ending the day at 357, and actually it's not bad money for this, like, this type of size either. GPUS, interesting stock. There were areas where I thought it was looking pretty bad with the bigger drops, but it held up every time, bounced back almost instantly. I think for me on some of the pullbacks too, like I'm a little bit more particular, and so I think it's something to work on though, knowing that with the volatility in the range that we'll see, the spreads, getting the price points that you want is not gonna happen, and still knowing that the area that you're buying is still solid. But again, it is a little tricky though because sometimes in those trades, the key is to remember you still want to just keep the tight stop, breakout, or bailout approach. Because if you fall into just giving it a chance, that's where the bids are just evaporating, and then you're taking a much bigger loss than like a flat trade. So got to be careful in those areas to still keep the breakout or bailout mindset, despite the trade looking decent in terms of the support. Just got to keep it tight. As mentioned, reviewing. Just gonna keep to the quick trades. Not too many trades where I'm gonna look to hold longer. Just gonna just shock it out, eliminate it. Just quick trades only, and just slowly but surely try to accumulate a couple of green days. And especially if things are to shift around a little bit, the deck is reshuffled, and we actually start seeing more clean momentum. Is what I would like to call it, right? Then we know what to expect. Even this GPUS I thought was a little tricky. There was just areas where I thought was good, and then I don't know. I'd say majority of it was kind of tough compared to you know majority of the stock being good and a few areas being tricky, right? Like that, like the anywhere where I'm saying the move should happen. Typically, that's where I'd be in with like massive size to catch a big breakout or whatever. So if we can read the chart properly and be able to be in rhythm with those type of opportunities, then that's how I know for sure like we're seeing really nice days. But even this one again, just one area where I thought was really good, everything else was kind of tough. Yeah, that's gonna do it. 1 hour of trading, short session, taking the gains. I'm gonna check in on the YouTube stream. Hopefully you guys also had a good day on this side. I don't read comments as I trade because there's just too much going on. I already miss a lot of stuff as is, so it's tough to try to look over here, read something. But um what I will do is like check for callouts. Like if I see like the four tickers, the four letters, right? For a ticker symbol, that's kind of like the most that I'll do as I'm trading. But afterwards, time like this, I can like look back, see if I missed any questions or anything. How long would you say to trade small size with a good ratio before going back up? Honestly, as long as it takes. As long as it takes for you to see more consistency, be confident mentally, and then also, you know, I think the market as well. Like if you can see, and we kind of know what it is, right? Like when we're seeing a really nice market, and there's a few months I can recall: August of 2022, February of 2024. I think that was last year. February of 2024, November, December, October, those months of 2024, where it's like not just myself, but like everyone, like every trader is like able to see some sort of good gains. There are traders who are extremely consistent, so it doesn't matter what's happening, right? It doesn't matter if it's hot, cold, if there's nothing. If there's some traders who are shout out to like Marcelo, for example, right? For Marcelo, it doesn't matter if it's snowing, if there's a blizzard, and one stock might have only moved up 1 cent. The mighty's gonna dial it in, right? The mighty's gonna dial it in. So there's other traders in our community too, outside of our community, as you guys will see as well. But I think it's important for you to know if you're having a tougher time to then make the adjustments, even when it's hard. You gotta just pull it back and take it slow, because at the end of the day, not losing is better. Going side, even if it's going sideways, is better. Or losing smaller is better. All those things are better than just losing and losing at the full amount because your share size. So those are things to keep in mind if you're going through a drawdown, which I am in my biggest drawdown of like 10,000, which is for me way more than I would like, way more than I would, like to think that it would take for me to size down. But after checking in yesterday, it's like, yeah, I kind of have no choice here. GPUS could halt up off this bounce. The liquidity seems a little light in between the market price and the halt level, but probably not going to happen. BDSX did get back over VWAP. It's a good one to watch for anybody that might still be looking for some trades. You know, the market is not the same as it used to be. There's things that have changed. It's still similar, but there's things that have changed for sure. You know, like I was having this conversation yesterday with a few people, and it's like when you really sit down and think about high of day momentum stocks today versus just a few years ago, versus a year and a half, 2 years, 3 years ago, 4 years ago, it was much more common to see breaking news after the open and stocks go from 0 to 100, literally as in percentage, from 1% to 100%, 110% more, sometimes 200%, you know, at a random time like this, right? 10:45 a.m., 10:30 a.m., 12 p.m., power hour. Now, you know, I mean, I can't remember the last time that I've traded a stock off the high of day momentum scanner that was not already a gap stock that might have like sold off a little bit and then curled up. Versus, you know, just 2, 3 years ago, half the stocks we would trade is coming from the high of day scans, right? It's like a small example of how things have like changed a little bit. You know, in terms of like after the open, I'm pretty sure pre-market though, like the high of day scan maybe shines more, right? And it's still good to have a good one just in case. You know, that 1 to 10% of the time something might come up. But yeah, back in the days, I mean, I remember especially back on E-Trade days, it's like, oh, this is now like 4 years ago. High of day momentum stocks might have been like 60 to 70% of the stocks we would trade. Some days you'll come in and there's literally nothing on the gap scanner, and then it's all high of day stocks moving throughout that day. Now, if nothing is on the gap scanner, we're cooked. Like, there's probably not going to be anything, right? So, in terms of pre-market though, again, this is another thing with me and like stubbornness, and like, so I've decided that, you know, I'm gonna trade pre-market. I'll probably start the live stream earlier. Um, I'm gonna go for 6 a.m. I'm gonna go for 6 a.m. and I'm probably gonna start the live stream a little later, maybe like 8:40, 8:30, depending. But I'm gonna sit there early and just, you know, see what it's all about. And just like how I'm doing here, I'm gonna try to go easy, and then I'm gonna start slow and just, you know, I'm gonna start slow, take it easy, get a good feel, and try to connect the dots in terms of, you know, why a stock is strong and what kind of leads to a stock to continue, right? I think that's going to be the key question, and feeling out the similarity in the price action, and checking other key components like news, things like that, just to kind of see, you know, what's working, what's not, because it seems like every day we're getting at least one hot stock that just goes and goes, and then by the open it's selling off. No halt levels, so the stocks could in theory keep going. We've seen stocks go from 5 to 30 in like just 2, 3 minutes, which is insane. So tomorrow I'll be watching on small size. It'll be interesting to see how it, you know, how things. It'll be. We'll see. We'll see. I don't want to talk too much. We'll just see how it goes. And but today I'm gonna look into my DAS platform, make some tweaks, edit some things, I do have a ton of scripts, so I'm gonna go back and just like rework everything, test test out keys, as in like hotkeys, test out everything, and go from there. BDSX still going up. No, not switching broker, but you know, DAS Trader, which can be connected to Schwab, allows you to have hotkeys. I'm going to be using offsets. I'm not going to use pure limit orders because I think it'll make me too slow. I want to be able to be in and out just like I am right now, right? But that will mean taking some slightly higher fills. But there'll be areas where I can use a pure limit order though, you know? So it'll come down to the price of the stock, spreads, things like that. Because some stocks you'll probably have to adjust your offset to probably like over 30 cents, right? I do have other brokers too. I also have a Guardian, which is also set up via DAS. So I could also take trades there if I needed to. If I need to. BDSX actually is moving up a little bit. We got 50 cents here. Yeah, market's always changing and shifting. So for an offset, you can essentially say you're willing to get filled up to a certain price. So if I have a 10 cents offset, typically I want to still trade stocks with tight spreads, and that could be a rule that I probably will have for pre-market. It's probably stocks with tight spreads only. But the offset will allow me to be filled. Let's say the stock is at $3. If I have a 10-cent offset, in theory, I'll be filled all the way up to 310 if the stock is flying up, nothing higher, right? Now, if there's a lot of liquidity and the spreads are tight, it's going to fill me at the closest available limit order going up. So 301 is in theory where I would get filled. Now, if there's no liquidity there, it's going to go up again to try to get me filled all the way to 310. So that's what the offset does. But again, if I'm still looking at stocks that are like fairly tight in spreads and it's pretty liquid, which pre-market at this point there's no trouble with liquidity. So I'm pretty sure if a stock is cheaper, you shouldn't have too much trouble getting in. And I've traded a couple of days pre-market, so you know, yeah, I don't think there'll be that much trouble getting in. And the key will be to just have that speed factor there. So if I'm not filled the entire order, at least I can get filled 302 and still get in, right? If the trade is looking good. Because for me, I just don't want to have to deal with partial. Honestly, even during the open is why I don't typically use limit orders. I despise partial fills. That's the real reason. Thinkorswim does have the flatten hotkey, which makes it easy to get out. But the partial fills, man, like you try to buy 2K shares and you're filled 25 shares at the lows and the stock just goes without you. It feels worse than like missing the trade for me. So it's kind of why I just would rather that. I have a sibling that trades. He's in the simulator and he's also watching pre-market. So we'll probably trade together. We'll probably trade together for at least 30 minutes to an hour. And then I think it'll be good too. Well, honestly, it depends, right? Depending on how it goes. Maybe over time, I even go into the chat early and kind of like log in there at some points in time, but we'll see. I think the number one thing for me and for anybody else is to just have the confidence. At the end of the day, the number one component to being successful is discipline. And if we could be disciplined at the open, we could be disciplined at any time of the day. If we could be disciplined in one career, we could be disciplined in another, right? So at the end of the day, it's like there's nothing that we can't do, right? We can do everything. We just have to be willing to be disciplined and just go slow first. So I don't see why myself, the students, the team house members, anybody, we all could do it, right? Anybody could do it. It's not going to be easy, but it's possible. And if we're disciplined, we know we have a good shot. That's the key. So typically I go to sleep at like 12 a.m. because I have trouble waking up in the middle of the night. So I usually go to sleep at 12 a.m. So I just sleep through right till like 7. I wake up at 7:30 market time. I wake up at 7:30 market time. So what I'll do, I'll like make some adjustments, go to sleep a little earlier, perhaps like 10:30 market time, Eastern time. Get the extra 2 hours. It'll probably take my body some time to adjust because when I go to sleep at 10:30, 11, I just always wake up at 3 a.m. I don't know why. I don't know why this thing happens, man. And it's like religiously too. It's not just like once a week or something. I don't know what caused that, but I think over time, the adjustment will kind of happen, even if it takes like a good week and a half, 2 weeks. That's the only concern I'd have. Other than that, like, and even that is not that minor, right? What happens is that your body will adjust, even if you have to take a nap. Some of the team house guys in California, they'll take a nap after the session because they're waking up at 5 a.m. and they're finished maybe 8 a.m. They'll like take a nap, which is the craziest thing ever. But yeah. So first day of trader rehab successful. We're taking a couple $100, shutting it down. Stay safe, stay green. I'll catch you guys in the next one tomorrow at 9:15 a.m. for another beautiful day in the markets. All right. Catch you guys later. Yeah, the live stream is going to start later, but I'll be here earlier. Catch you guys.